just a few different names in the functions. If you want to type any questions, we are going to answer probably a lot of your questions as we go through. But if you've got any questions, just type them in the comments and our guys will get to them. Sam is going to read them from his unit here and talk through the microphone so we can hear them. Then we're going to run through a quick PowerPoint presentation just to fill you in on a little bit more about the course. And then we're going to go into the course itself and just have a look at some of the topics and bits and pieces that are in there to give you a bit of an idea of what we cover. So, yeah, what we might do first is run into the PowerPoint, just fill you in on a few things about us. Okay, of course, Sound and Skills 2. We've had it going for well over a year now. It's a fantastic little course. It's helped so many people take their fishing to the next level. We've been doing online courses now since 2014. Got a number of courses going. I was a charter operator for 30 years, for those of you who don't know me, for all kinds of experience from Marlin to Barramundi, etc. We also have in our community at the moment around about 10,000 students, and we've got a few of the guys here just to have a talk to you tonight. Plenty of testimonials in there as well. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to basically, I'll just go to that next page, sorry mate. Yeah, so we've had a lot of anglers do really well with our courses and everything. There's so many of them have caught their dream fish, their personal bests and all that sort of stuff. Everybody really should know this sort of thing. Depth sounders can hide a lot of things on you. They can confuse you if you don't know what you're looking at. There's so much misinformation out there on YouTube and those sort of places. All our courses have concept videos that explains the concepts or why basically. And then we back it all up out in the field with demo videos and we narrate what we see and it comes up on a sounder recording. And there's a swag of videos in the course. It takes quite a bit of time to do. So we're going to answer some more questions about that shortly. We do all sorts of things in there as well that'll help you with the fishing, teach you how to assess creeks properly, the reef as well. And we also cover water anywhere from 1 metre down to 400 or 500 metres in this course. We do have the optional Facebook group where you can interact with me and ask questions. We put a few extra videos in there. That's the Inner Circle group. And we put some bonus stuff in there as well. I think there's 40 odd extra videos in that group now, in that part of the course. Okay, is it on, we've got some frequently asked questions here. I'm going to touch on these first. So this might answer some of your questions. Is it on a DVD? No, it's not. You won't receive anything in the mail. You will receive your login details via email. Just check your junk mail. After you purchase, you should get your details within a few minutes. So if you don't get them, just check your junk mail because sometimes they end up in there, depends on your provider. What brands does it cover? It covers everything. It's about the whole concept of sounders, the different beam angles, all these sort of things. So some of the guys here tonight, well, Steve uses Lowrance, Chris is Garmin, I think Maxi's Hummingbird these days, I'm not sure. But yeah, it covers all brands basically, even though it's recorded on Garmin, because that was the best function we had to actually record things using the active captain. So it puts a nice professional recording on the screen, not just using a dirty old camera on the screen, that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's recorded in Garmin, but we talk about everything pretty much. And the only thing different is some of the functions are called different things between different brands, like gain is called sensitivity and brightness as well. So there's just a few little things that you have to understand that it changes between the brands. The difference between Sound and Skills 1 and Sound and Skills 2. Sound and Skills 1 is more a cheaper more to the point video. It just covers the 3 main fundamentals you must get right before you can really move into more advanced things like what's in Sound and Skills 2. So Sound and Skills 1, yeah, it's just those 3 fundamentals you've really got to get right, because if you don't, you can make things rather difficult for yourself over time. And with the sale at the moment, on the 1st to the 5th, if you buy Sound and Skills 2, you get Sound and Skills 1 thrown in as well. So that's a little bonus there. And I do recommend you do Sound and Skills 1 first. Do it first before you move on to 2. Okay, if you have an old fish finder with 2D only, we got plenty of 2D in there. That's one of the things that confuses people, trying to put that 3D world onto a 2D screen. There's so many different concepts on there that'll hide fish and show fish in different ways that makes it confusing for you. So yeah, we narrow all that down. So it's not just side imaging and down imaging. We cover a lot of 2D as well. If you fish in deep water, over 100 meters, yes, we do have a fair bit in there. Of course, when you get out to those depths using lower frequencies and bigger cone angles, the fish are basically not directly below you. They could be anywhere around you that's in that beam. We show you out there how to narrow it down, the techniques and methods and the best transducers to get for that kind of thing. In other words, elliptical beams. But that's all in the course, so I won't go too much more about that. So will it improve your fishing? Yes, it's not just a sounder course. There's a fair bit of technical stuff in the course, like, you know, what frequencies to use when and where, and understanding the different beam angles from different functions and the interactions they have with objects and fish, and where are fish in the water column. And there is so much in there, it's not funny, but we'll run through just a little bit of that shortly, what's in there. Yeah, basically we've had so many people give us testimonials and they say it's definitely improved their fishing. So yeah, there's a lot of assessment skills and that kind of stuff, showing you how to assess different locations. So technical and in-field fishing. So we've got some, well, I just want to introduce our guys tonight, our course members. We've got Steve and Brizzy. G'day, Steve. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, self.
Good. How'd you find the course, buddy?
Yeah, well, again, like every other course, it just speaks for itself. It gives you that much more information, useful information to go out and improve yourself and your fishing and understand what you're looking at. Gives you the bigger picture of, you know, understanding that world, that without that technology and without understanding it, you just wouldn't really know what's down there. So I actually quite enjoy it, like just sitting behind the sounder and yeah, it's like
iron out a few of the cobwebs for you,
yeah,
so to speak.
like, yeah, underwater photography, I suppose, or the best thing. Well, not the best thing anyway. So
yeah, that's right. Oh, it's good, mate. And you fish primarily the creeks and rivers down there, and out do a little bit of snapper as well. So you're
yeah, so it's 20 meters and under, so around that range, and I can generally stick to a particular set of settings, and they tend to work in all those areas that I look. And yeah,
awesome, fantastic, mate. Well, you're one of our students that picks things up very easy, and yeah, some of those threadies you're catching down there are amazing fish, mate. Let's keep it up. And your barras. Yeah, can't believe this bloke. First two biggest barras, both 128.
yeah. Well, I'm quickly becoming the 128 now. I think I need to become the 130 man.
Yeah, mate, that's what you got to get. A couple more centimeters. All right, buddy, we'll have a chat a little bit later through the talk. I'll move on to Chris. How are you, mate? What did you get out of the course? What was the most thing that you got out of the course?
Oh, I think there's a whole range of things. It was, I think I fished for years and always used sounders, but I thought I understood what I was reading on the sounder, but what the course taught me is I didn't really understand what I was looking at all, and I was driving over fish and not understanding, especially the side scan stuff, and getting the settings right to interpret what you were seeing and be confident that they're actually fish. I do a fair bit of, or probably mainly creek stuff now, chasing barra and on the impoundments as well. So it's pretty important that you're actually fishing on fish. There's no point parking up somewhere where you think their fish are and then not producing anything. So yeah, that was probably the big thing for me was setting up, understanding beam angles, and then yeah, I guess the whole 7 hours of tutorial in the course goes through everything in depth, so it doesn't leave anything out. Plus that you've got the private study page where you can ask questions directly to yourself or other students, and that's just massive. That's a massive thing in itself to be able to ask specific questions around problems you might be having or interpreting. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good little group now. A lot of the guys sort of answer their own technical questions in amongst each other, and I take care of the more practical stuff. But yeah, once again, it's that group's growing like all our others, and it's a fantastic area to learn, and it's searchable. Our Facebook group is searchable, so you can type in a topic, and it'll all the posts with that search term will actually pop up in front of people. Thanks, Chris. We'll touch base again a little bit later. And also, Maxi down there in Central Queensland, how are you, mate? You do a bit of inshore and offshore fishing.
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, probably tend to more inshore nowadays than the offshore. Used to do a lot of offshore, and I wish I'd done the course when I did have a big boat and did a large volume of offshore. I think I had missed a whole range of opportunities, not thinking I knew what I was looking at when really I wasn't, and fishing on things I thought were fish but weren't. When you look back in hindsight.
Yeah, that's where that 3D world on a 2D screen can not only, well, it can show you fish at certain times, of course, when they're high and proud, but it can certainly hide fish in many ways too, as you've seen in the course.
Yeah, the probably similar to Chris, the involvement and the understanding of using your side scanner, where I really got the absolute most benefit out of it. I walked away from the course and applying what was taught in it and having a red hot crack at it, and came away in a matter of minutes, I reckon, understanding a lot more and seeing things and recognizing things more clearly, and knowing how to tune it in depending on where you are, etc. So it was definitely worth every dollar as well from that regard.
Awesome, mate. You've caught some cracking fish down there, both inshore and offshore, and it was good to see you get into the snapper down there too in winter time, using our finger mark stuff. So that was great, mate. Awesome.
Yeah, cool, mate.
All righty. Yeah, we just got a few of the students there tonight going to join us and hopefully answer just a few of your questions later on that we haven't gone through. So now might be time to just have a quick look in the course. So what we're going to do is go into, what's going to happen is, after you, here we go. Sorry, guys, just bear with us for a second. Okay, righto, this is the dashboard. This is what pops up after you log into our website. This is a secure website. All our courses are on here, and the ones that you've purchased will actually light up, so you'll know which ones you can log into. So Sound and Skills 2, we're going to click on that, and that's going to open up to us shortly. And I'll just move this over. Here we go. Now down the side here, this is what's in the course. Now, first up, we'll talk about using sonar using strategy. The big picture video is basically the big picture. We cover basically what's in the course and in a quick overview, and then we break it all down after that. So the concept video is seeing fish, all about how to see fish in different ways on your sounder, some of the things that can hide them, all that sort of stuff. Turning, what happens when you turn your boat, how the beam interactions all change, and how they can show and hide fish in different manners. Then we have a shallow assessment, which is like a comparison between down imaging and 2D, and it shows you which functions best and why, and how they show fish differently as well, and what to recognize there. So sometimes that can get very confusing when you have two different modes running together if you don't know what you're looking at. Then we go into frequency comparisons, from lower frequencies to what they're used for, the higher frequencies and what they're used for. And this kind of thing helps people when you're actually going to purchase a new sounder. So many people go out there and buy a sounder and they only fish in the creeks, but they'll accidentally buy a transducer that's meant for offshore, and vice versa. There's no point in going out offshore if you've only got a transducer that's meant for the creeks and rivers. So that's why understanding frequencies is very important before you go and buy a unit. Another frequency comparison there with 2D, low, medium and high frequencies, all about their beam angles and how they interact with the different objects. That's the really big one with 2D. It can hide so much stuff, and we teach you where that function's best used as well, because there's some places where it's not very good. Well, it's still good, but you're better off using other functions like down imaging. So we run through all that kind of thing as well. Deep searching, the best function to use for deep searching, side imaging in 2D. And then we move on to module 2, which is setup and tuning. Once again, we have the concept videos where we run through all the tuning requirements and the best way to get the best picture out of your unit and for each different function. Then we have the shallow water setup for 2D, our 2D function. Shallow water setup for down view, shallow water setup for side imaging. Then we have our deep setups, goes right through, and a transducer mounting guide at the end of that one. Then we go on to finding the fish, concept video, of course. It's all about practical use. Assessing a creek, there's a couple of videos in there on assessing different parts of rivers and creeks for a variety of fish. We have assessing a reef, the best way to go about assessing a reef. And also fishing on the fish. We show you how to get close to the fish school itself and being able to fish on it, not right away from it. Fishing on the fish offshore as well in deeper water when you've got wider beam angles, and quite often the fish, they might look like they're below you on the sounder, but they're actually not, and we break that all down there. We troubleshoot some transducer issues on there as well, and also the very deep water fishing on the fish, which we've just mentioned before, 2D in really deep water. Then we have the inner circle group. We have another 40 odd videos in there on various topics. We do a little bit of bottom sampling in there as well and run the depth sounder over the top of them. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that, yeah, there's plenty more learning in there, lots of videos. So that's basically the rundown of the course. And yeah, like I say, you can come and go from the course as much as you like. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. You've got your login details for the life of the course. So you can always come back. You can't take everything in one go. A lot of the guys revisit the course, 30, 40 times to run through things again and again and again. So that's the most important thing. It's not just a weekend webinar where you got to take it all in one go. You can come back to this as much as you like. Okay, so that's pretty much the rundown of the course. So we will move on to some questions. We've got a few questions coming through. Pardon me.
Yeah, so we got some questions. So Chris in the webinar, so he's about to upgrade his sounder and transducer, and he wants to know if it'd be better to do the course first. So Chris, if you could unmute your microphone, you can talk to Ryan.
Yes, but definitely, Chris, I would do the course first. Like I mentioned, yeah, you'll learn what frequencies you need to use, the type of functions that are going to serve you well. So that's going to be a big player when it comes to choosing the right transducer for your head unit. So yeah, mate, I would definitely recommend that for sure. Don't do the course first before you buy.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries, buddy. Too easy.
Anything else, Chris?
Yeah, any other questions, mate, while we got you?
The Garmin, there's a lot of models in Garmin, and I've already got a Garmin. It's a 60 EcoMap 65. I was just wondering if I could get one that I want to keep that one as well at the bottom, and I want to put a 10-inch at the top.
Mm-hmm.
I was just wondering, and I wanted to see whether I could get a transducer that would work. Like I want to get at least the 1 kilowatt because I want to go off to Browns Mountain in Sydney.
Okay.
Do some
yeah.
some deep, that's like 400 meters deep.
Yeah, we can put you in touch with our dealer. He can help you with all that sort of stuff. But if you're going to go 1 kilowatt, you're going to need the 84 series, unless you go through a broadband black box.
That's right.
Yeah, the 84s though, you can plug a 1 kilowatt straight into the back of them now. But but the other models, no, you'll definitely need to go through a broadband amplifier.
Beautiful. Thanks very much.
Mate, if you want to email us, info@ryanmoodyfishing.com, we can put you on to Paulie and he can help you out with all that kind of thing.
All right, beautiful.
Thanks, mate. Too easy.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers, mate. We'll move on to another question.
Cheers.
Righto, we've got a question from Lucas Mulligan. So he wants to know, is the content available once purchased to go back at a later date if you upgrade your sounder from down scan to side scan, etc.? So just, can he refresh his information?
Yeah, for sure, mate. You certainly can come and go as much as you like, as I mentioned before. And yeah, when you're ready to, you'll learn about all the functions. If you've got a sounder now that doesn't have all the different functions, you'll certainly learn about it. So you'll be ready to go. You'll hit the ground running when you do buy your new unit. Okay.
All right. So we got James in the webinar. If you want to unmute your microphone, you can talk to Ryan and ask him your question.
Yeah, I just asked a question. I live on the mid-north coast of New South Wales and do mainly bay fishing out to sort of 150 metres, and just wondering whether that sort of covers what's in the course, covers what, that my sort of area as well. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely, mate. Yeah, from 1 metre up to probably 400 to 500 metres in the course. We don't cover anything over that because there's not that many fishermen that go and do that. So it's basically covers as far as most of the deep dropping practices go, which is 400 to 500 metres around the country. Fishing over that 1,000 metres and that, there's not that many anglers that really go and do that kind of thing where you're using 2 and 3 kilowatt transducers. But yeah, mate, yeah, certainly up to 400 or 500 metres is covered in the course. But yeah, mate, you'll find everything you need if you just fish up to 150.
Yeah, no worries.
Too easy, mate. Any more questions, James?
Do you update the course at all? Like if you find stuff that you think it should go in there, do you update it?
Yes, mate. Yes. Sometimes there's even technology changes. That we are actually adding a few more bits and pieces to the course as well. And that just pops up. You don't have to pay any extra when new content goes in there. It just all it turns out you'll get an email and letting you know when it's in there. And yeah, you just open the course and go straight to it. So it doesn't cost any extra or nothing like that. And the private study group or the inner circle group, we have another 40 odd videos in there, 42 or something there now. And every month I add a new video with a different concept, or sometimes we do bottom sampling and show people why it looks a certain way with what's down there. We film the bottom and compare it to the sounder recording. So we are adding new content to the course, yeah, reasonably regularly.
Yeah, because I think I'm a bit like everyone else, where I thought I knew how to use a sounder until I've watched Sounder Skills 1. I've subscribed to that, and then realised, yeah, maybe I don't really know how to use it.
Mate, if you like Sounder Skills 1, you will love Sounder Skills 2. That'll blow you away. Yeah.
Okay.
Too easy.
Thank
But
you.
it's very important to do Sounder Skills 1 first, though, and get those concepts around wired first, and then you're right to move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe some of our past students might be able to.
Yeah, we'll just have a quick talk to. That's what the guys are here for. So we'll have a quick chat to a couple of our students. What do you reckon about that, guys? Definitely do Sounder Skills 1 first, just to get your head around those fundamentals.
Yeah, for sure. You definitely need to start there, I think.
Yeah.
And practice, like go out, put it into practice, and get that understanding, and then move from there. Yeah.
Leave the fishing rods at home for once.
Yeah, occasionally I do.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard sometimes when you find something, but
yeah.
with that too, especially with the inner circle, like if you really get into it, you get that free first month of the inner circle. So for anyone new to it, I really suggest, putting that.
Sit down and get those 40 videos in.
Get into the courses, have a good look, get into the inner circle stuff, and really get the full value out of it, because there's so much good stuff in there. And if you apply yourself to it and apply it on the water, the results will come a lot quicker than, they would if you didn't have that information. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, mate. Okay, we'll move on to another question.
Okay, we've got a question from Matthew. So he's looking forward to doing Sounder Skills 2, but he wants to know, how long did it take you to put the course content together?
Wow. Yeah, mate. we never kept track of it, but it was some time. Yeah, we even went and bought a certain boat to go and film it in, and sold it at the end of it all. I think it was a good solid 6-7 months, I think, definitely. I'm doing other projects in between it all at the same time, but yeah, I'd say it took us around 6-7 months to film properly. Yeah, finish it up.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was quite time consuming. A lot of big hours at night editing, and yeah.
Probably a lot more than that in it. Like, you know, if you take into account all the time that you thought about it and doing all that sort of stuff. So,
the setting up of it all. Yeah.
Plus your 30 years of experience as well.
That's right. I mean, the way Karen she's done all the structuring of it and everything like that. So that's why it teaches people very well and easily. It's certainly not confusing. We put it in a way that spells things out and nice and easy. So we get a lot of people saying that, get a lot of good feedback about how it's been presented. Okay. Move on to another question.
So yeah, if you guys got any questions, put them in the comments, or people on the webinar, if you can stick them in the chat. If you'd like to talk to Ryan, just put a little note down there and we'll call you up so we can unmute your microphone. So
yeah, just unmute yourselves, guys, if you want to ask a question. Maybe
in the meantime, I might be able to have a bit more of a detailed look through the actual site, maybe.
You there, Ryan?
Yeah, mate, gotcha. Wayne, is it?
Yeah, Wayne here, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Mate, I'm running a 7-inch Lawrence XTS at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, sort of bundling my way through it, so to speak. Looking at upgrading, mate, to the Garmin 84 series 10-inch.
Yes. Great units.
Any pros and cons in like running both units, or am I better just getting rid of the smaller unit and just running the one?
You could probably keep your other unit for maybe having a full screen GPS, so then you can use the 10-inch for your sonar. Pardon me, your sonar only, your sonar functions, so you don't have to have that on your screen. That's what I'd be doing. I'd run the old Lowrance there as a GPS, and keep your 84 series just for your sonar functions, mate.
Yeah, right. I was just wondering, like, if you have any interference problems or anything like that with them.
No, you won't have any interference. Only if you're running two separate sounders, running both the same frequencies.
Yeah, right.
For a particular mode, that's the only way you'll get interference.
No problems. All right, thanks.
No worries, Wayne. Too easy, mate.
All right, I've got a question from Philip. Philip, if you'd like to unmute yourself. So he's concerned about location of his transducer.
Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, well, I've got it in the base of the keel, and I'm just worried about the fact it's going to go through 10 mil of fiberglass.
It's one thing I haven't done. I've never mounted a transducer in a keel. You've had a fair bit of experience with yachts.
To do with yachts and boats like that. The best transducer you can get is like a through-hole transducer. In my yacht, I'm actually running a shoot-through hole 600 watt AMR transducer. While it's okay, it still doesn't give you the same image or the quality that you would get with a through-hole transducer.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a through hull would be better, and keeping it away from the keel, wouldn't it, rather than mounting it in the keel?
Out to the side, in the forward part of the boat.
Yeah, because you'll have to make allowances for the beam angle that you have in relation to where you mount it, because you don't want your keel actually interfering with your beams. So that's another thing to take into account where you're actually going to mount it in the boat. So don't mount it right next to your keel or very close to it, because you might find you will get some kind of refraction from the keel itself, and that could just give you some shots on your screen that just don't give you the full picture of what's actually down there. You could get some kind of blockage with your beams. So
I can get it in the bilge right in the bottom. I can get it in the bilge right down the bottom.
Yeah. If you've got a local shipwright in your area there, that would probably be a good one to talk to go and have a look at that sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'd get some good local advice from wherever you are, mate. And yeah, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. But yeah, don't ever mount too close to your keel. No.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay.
All right,
Got some
got a
more there.
question. Joel, if you'd like to unmute yourself, mate. You can hear what kind of money do you need to spend?
Yeah, I've heard that some, like, you can go 70 k's an hour and pick up fish, and some need like 10k an hour. So I was just wondering what sort of money you need to spend to. I mean, I'm not going to be traveling 70 k's, but yeah.
Pardon me, mate. It's not so much the quality of your unit as to getting a good reading at speed. It's where you mount your transducer. What kind of hull you have can also play on that as well. And also, you know, what kind of weather conditions you're in. We'll explain all that in the course. But yeah, you don't have to have, you know, a $5,000 unit to get a good reading of the bottom. I've seen some pretty good old cheap units get a very good reading. It's all in the mounting of the transducer mostly, mate. Yeah. And of course, the higher the frequency you're using, the better it'll track bottom at speed as well. So that's another thing we teach you about, all the different frequencies to use where and when and for what reasons too.
Yeah, sweet. Cheers.
Too easy, mate. No worries. Okay, we've got some more questions there. What about Chris Ballard, mate? How do you go with your sounder at speed?
Yeah, really good now. I struggled before because I didn't have it mounted properly.
Yeah.
I did the course. Probably before I could travel at maybe 20 knots, or maybe that 15 to 20, and it would be fine. But anything over that, it would be rubbish. So
yeah.
Now I've got it mounted, and you've got a special part in the course that explains the mounting. And yeah, it's beautiful now. I can do 50 k's an hour and still read perfectly. So
it's quite a lot of little things to take into account, isn't it, too? And also with skimmer transducers, you know, a lot of people sort of, you know, get that a bit wrong, not by mounting them way too low or too level as well. You know, they just get so much air onto them. So there's a lot of things to take into account, isn't there?
Yeah, for sure. And I like the cost of the course is only a couple of $100. In my opinion, if you were looking at spending any money on a sounder, that $200 is worth every single cent of it, just to give you the information to buy the right sounder, to set it up properly. Because at the end of the day, you might buy a $5,000 sounder, you don't mount your transducer properly, and you're saying, oh, this is a piece of rubbish. I've gone the wrong way. But at the end of the day, it just gives you the information to, you said it before, like, make sure you're buying the right frequency transducer for what you want to do with it. And then you're buying the right screen to match with that, to do that sort of thing as well. So that couple of $100 is worth every bit of it.
Definitely, mate. Yep. And yeah, it's I mean, there is a fair bit in the course though, and like you've mentioned in the other course, you know, with Barra Basics and things like that, don't go back to the old ways or anything like that. You know, don't go back into your old habits. Just keep following the course, and yeah, it'll all pan out, and you'll start seeing results and better pictures and things like that. Yeah. Cool.
100%, mate. 100%.
All right, mate. All right. We got another question there, mate.
Yeah. So Scott's got a question. If you'd like to unmute yourself.
Yep.
You got you, Scott?
Yep. Hey, yeah, I've got a EcoMap Plus 75 SP.
Yep.
I was just wondering, is that a good enough setup for like shallow? I don't really fish much over 50 meters deep, and also in estuaries and creeks.
It's okay for the estuaries and creeks. It doesn't have a super high frequency. It's one of the earlier model transducers. It's low powered as well. So it is mainly an inshore. The 2D function, the high wide 2D function, and that will work to around about 60, 70 meters. And then you're going to start losing definition and the bottom and that kind of thing after that depth. But as far as, you know, if you really wanted a good unit out wide, yeah, you'll certainly, if you do the course, it'll certainly help you work that out, mate. By choosing the right transducer. The one you've got there is not the best for offshore. So if you did want a really good one for offshore, you'd go probably the GT51. It's got much better search functions and higher power for 2D as well. So yeah, you can go to 300 meters deep with the 2D function on that, but with yours you can only go to about 70 meters.
Yeah, right, yeah. No worries, thanks, mate.
Too easy. Okay, what have we got there? Another.
No, but we got some people on the webinar, so we might just go through you guys one by one if you got any questions. Bud, have you got any questions, Darks? Ryan, with regards to sounder skills too?
No, mate, all good.
Too easy, mate. No problem. Oh, by the way, if any guys, if any of you guys do have some questions you might not have heard answered tonight, you can always send us an email to info@ryanmoodyfishing.com, and we can hopefully just quickly address your concerns there about the course. And yeah, we'll. Sorry, mate.
Oh,
sorry, we've got another question over here.
Okay, so question is, I've been using sounders for years. Will I learn anything, or is it for beginners? Maybe Chris can.
Yeah,
shed some light on that.
yeah, Chris can shed some light on that. But we have had some pretty good testimonials from commercial fishermen as well that have been fishing for years that learned quite a lot out of it. But we'll hand that one over to Chris.
Feel like I'm taking over the show. Yeah, definitely, mate. I use I use sounders. I had like in a 6-meter boat. Went through the Lowrance and the Humminbird, and then I've gone to Garmin now. But they all do as good a job as each other, I think. But yeah, I thought I knew how to interpret my sounder properly, but I was way off the mark. You know, it's like anything in the fishing game. You think you got it dialed in, and then all of a sudden someone shows you another way to do it, or the proper way to do it, and then you just think, what the hell was I doing all of that time? So yeah, for sure.
One of the comments I have had.
Taught me heaps. I actually.
Yeah, sorry, mate. One of the
I wish
comments
I
I have
didn't
had.
know. I wish I didn't have all the.
Are you right? You go.
Sorry, mate. You go.
We've got a bit of delay happening. That's all.
I wish I didn't have all the. I wish I didn't have some of the bad habits from before, that I could just go straight into the course and then start from scratch. But yeah, I had to get rid of some of those old habits first, and then go from there. So yeah.
You know, a couple of the very experienced people that have done the course, one of the biggest things they took out of it was how the 3D world can throw so many different illusions at you on a 2D screen. So that's one of the most things I hear from people who are already very experienced. That's one of the areas that they learn a lot from.
So Steve, just wondering, mate, like, how you been going since you've done sounder skills too? Have you caught any more fish, or?
Oh, through the roof. Like I said, I put a lot of time into it, and yeah, come to thoroughly enjoy actually just staring at the sounder and trying to understand more about what was going on, and taking that info out onto the water, and learning how to interpret what I was actually seeing a lot better, because I've only really been into it for maybe 2.5 years now. So technology was never a part of anything on my boats ever. I'd read the water and check things out, and maybe some of those instincts helped once I come and crossed over to actually using the technology. But it's a completely different world, and opens your eyes. And even for you say the experienced guys take something out of it. So that's one of my suggestions to some people who kind of get stuck, is that what you think maybe you just got to pause and be open to learning something new, and you'll get a lot more out of it that way as well. Like if you get stuck in your ways and think that you know it all, there's always something around the corner to kind of prove you wrong, and you got to keep an open mind, be open to learning more. I don't think, like, the older I get, the more open I become to learning, and you know, understanding, especially, you know, in the fishing game, like understanding more about something that I love. So, you know, in that regard, it's fairly easy for me to go out and do it on a regular basis. But yeah, keep an open mind.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. No, awesome, mate. And also, Maxi, yeah, I mean, what you've been catching some better fish since doing the courses. I know you found some big red emperor not far out from the coastline there one day. That was, if I remember rightly, I think you caught some really big reds close in somewhere.
Yeah, mate. It's I think the guys hit the nail on the head. It is different. If you think you know what you're looking at, try, open your mind up and apply it. It's worth doing. I think the biggest thing, Ryan, that I got out of it, I said earlier, was around the side scan and the application of that in shallow water. No, medium to shallow water, I suppose I should say, both in the creek and inshore. But I think the next stage was actually interpreting what you think you saw that aren't something as well. So thinking, not just finding something, but actually looking at something to go, well, that isn't something, it's actually this. It's
Yes.
Yeah,
confirmation.
yeah, confirmation of what it is. So that yeah, it's been good value, certainly good value. And the guys have said it, you know, put the time in, break your mindset, put the time in, you will do well out of it.
Definitely, mate. And that's why we sort of tell you guys to make sure you know, quite often run 3 functions at once. And that's what's going to, you know, you can see the difference between each function and beam angle. So you can see that, oh, that is a school of bait, but on the other function, it looks like it might have been a big fish, you know. So that's the best thing about it too, is we teach people how they can basically troubleshoot what they're looking at, and to get a better idea of, you know, is it a fish? Is it a school of bait? Is it a rock? Where are the hidden fish in this picture, and all the things to look for. So, yeah, thanks, mate. All the best with those big reddies again when you get out that way. All right.
All right.
Now,
question here from Philip. If you want to unmute your mic, mate, you got a question about Inner Circle and the subscription and how that works?
Oh yes, I noticed that with the Inner Circle, I thought that maybe I should do the course before I start that. Otherwise, it might take me 2 weeks to get through the course, and I've lost 2 weeks because I don't know what to ask.
yeah, okay. I think you can join actually later on.
I think it comes with the subscription.
Oh, it comes with the, yeah, sorry,
for
originally.
$1 when you sign up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
it comes in.
Yeah, I think it does start, mate, as soon as you sign up.
Right.
Yeah, but you can unsubscribe at any time. So
Yeah, and you can resubscribe to that group too. So
Yeah.
you can just manage your subscription in there. You'll see a little spot there where you can do that. Or if you have any troubles, you can always email our support@fishsmarter.com.au. If you have any issues with login or any kind of thing like that, or if you lose your details, yeah, our guys will sort you out. I'll send you a manual email with all the new stuff, and any problems at all, actually, for that matter. Jeffrey's a great kid. He'll have you back in and sort it out ASAP.
Thank you.
probably the best thing is that you can just sign up when you want. So, you know, after that 1 month's gone, you can just actually, unsubscribe.
You can
and
come and
sign
go
up a couple of months later if you're not going to use your boat or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And we have a bit of new content coming into that one as well every month into that group.
Yeah. So probably Steve might be able to shed some light on Inner Circle and like its benefits and things like that, even if you're not fishing.
Well, yeah, just for the interaction with others and that technical information itself, like that's worth its weight in gold, you know. Like, but you know, also those the advanced searching and understanding videos, you know, yeah, I think that can be often overlooked by some of the people. They kind of get a little bit stuck. And like I said, if you put that month aside to try and get through as much of it as you can make that decision. You think, all right, maybe I'm not quite ready for that yet. And yeah, like you said, you can give it a bit of a rest for a bit, and a couple of months down the track, come and have a look. But there's the whole, you know, starting to get a fair kind of knowledge base of different technical questions, different units, and all those sorts of things in there that you can just easily hit the search button, search for a topic, and it's likely that it's already come up once before and that question's already answered too. So like some of the questions that have come through tonight about some of the technical setups, I have no doubt that they'd be answered in there. Transducer placements, everything. And there's plenty of people on hand to answer different questions from the different ranges of units too. So yeah,
I think one of the big pluses of that group is you can just take a whole bunch of photos of your transom and how it's mounted, and or before you mount it, pictures of where it where it might want to go. And that's been a big thing that's helped a lot of people, is they can actually post their pictures up there and ask for the advice, and we just copy it and point it out.
Oh, that's right.
Awesome.
Question in the webinar group from Andrew about his GT54 transducer.
Can
you hear us there, Andrew?
Got us, Andrew?
No.
I'll answer that anyway. GT54 came with his EcoMap 12 UHD. That's the 125, I think. So what's the ideal depth for this transducer? Well, the GT54, its 2D function is high wide. It's at 250 watts. So you'll get to 70 odd meters of water. The side imaging is good to around about 15 to 20 meters of water, and still see around 20, 30 meters either side. That's the high frequency part of that side imaging. And it also has a lower 455 frequency for deeper waters to 50, 60 meters side imaging. Has the 2D function to 840 kilohertz, which is good for inshore and seeing the shapes of fish. So, and that's probably good to around about 50 odd, 60 odd meters as well. So yeah, it's more of a inshore transducer. But if you do a little bit of both, bit of out the reef as well, no deeper than sort of 60 odd meters, that's transducer still okay.
I guess there's a lot more information about all that in the course.
Oh yes, there's a lot more information
more than just
in the course.
But choosing the right equipment's only half of it.
Exactly.
So, all right, I've got a couple of questions. So how is it different to YouTube? Chris, have you got any insights on that?
Yeah, I went down this path. There's a whole heap of stuff on YouTube, and a lot of it, there is some stuff on there that's correct. There's also a lot of stuff on there that's rubbish. And if you don't know, you've got to determine what's correct and what's rubbish. So I can guarantee that if you follow what Ryan's puts forward in the course, that you'll get all correct information. Because there's a whole heap of rubbish on YouTube that people, so-called experts, that think they're experts, but they're not experts. So I can confirm that Ryan is an expert on this. And
thanks, mate. Don't need to inflate my head much bigger.
Yeah, on that too. Who do you follow? Do you follow the bloke on YouTube after his 5 minutes of fame, or do you follow the proven 30-year charter guide who's used sounders probably not long after? I don't know, he maybe even used paper charts or paper sounders, who knows?
Yeah, when I first kicked off, mate, yeah, that's what we had on the reef boat, the mackerel boats and that, yeah.
That's right. Yep. YouTube's there for recognition for the bloke that wants to be the next YouTube star, not to help you catch more fish.
That's it, mate. Yeah, you find there's a lot of regurgitated stuff on YouTube where people just seem to copy each other. And one of the massive things on there is hard and soft bottom. So many are wrong, it's just crazy. But anyway, we set people straight and we show people. That's the best part about it. We actually show them why on the sound and recordings. So yeah, thanks, mate. I appreciate your comments there. It's a lot of different information that you won't find on YouTube.
Yeah,
All right.
and like I think I said in one of the other groups previously, like the more you take all that misinformation, it just clouds your judgment and confuses things even more. So you're better off taking good advice, follow proper information like Chris stated it was, like if you follow that advice, you can't go wrong. It's just simple as that.
Exactly,
You start
mate.
doing all those other things, it'll cloud your judgment, just confuse things even further. Just forget it. That's the easiest way.
And you don't have as good a fishing because you're not understanding exactly what's going on down there.
Yeah, that's why.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I've got a question from Lucas. He says, I fish from a kayak, mainly estuary and skinny water. Would I benefit from the course?
Oh, definitely. It doesn't matter what you've got your transducer or your sounder mounted in. It covers 1 meter of water to 400 or 500 meters. So, yeah, we teach you all about, the higher frequency side imaging and stuff, which was what you're going to need. You're going to need a 3-channel transducer in the shallows to get the best out of your fishing. So, yeah, mate, it'll certainly tell you exactly what you need to buy as far as a unit goes and a transducer for shallow water.
All right. So another question. I fish deep water and only use 2D. Do you cover these situations?
Yes, we cover a lot of 2D. That's one of the big ones because of the illusions that it throws. And when the fish come through on the screen, they're not directly below you. And we teach you out in very deep water a crossover method of how to actually find the center of a school when you've got a whole football field marking underneath you. So we have a pretty neat technique in there, which shows you how to pinpoint the school using your GPS and sounder together.
Max, have you got anything to add on that one?
Yeah, as Ryan said, if you are fishing offshore, the 2D module that's in there, it is quite comprehensive, and you'll be able to apply it. And like I said, that misinformation, thinking you're reading something that it isn't, or what it wasn't, and then fishing on it versus where you should have been fishing, it certainly is worth its weight in gold there. And depending on what you call deep water, I suppose, the application of the side imaging, if you've got it in deep water applications, Ryan touches on that as well, on how to apply that. And that's very interesting. If you do the course, you'll get that out of it. It's very interesting.
Exactly. Thanks, mate. We do have a question that's come through from David. Can someone explain TVG settings without the confusion? Can we help? We certainly can help. We have a big area in the course on TVG. Of course, I can't go through that here. But yes, we tell you all about TVG, what it's there for, how to use it, and what strengths to use it at for various situations. Okay.
All right. Another question here. Ryan has all the best equipment. Will it help if you don't have the best sounder?
Yeah, of course. It doesn't really matter whether you've got a, $800 sounder or a $10,000 sounder. It teaches you all about the functions, the frequencies, the beam angles, the interactions, the hidden fish. It doesn't matter what unit you've got. It covers absolutely everything. And yeah, whether it's the cheapie or top of the range.
What do you reckon, Steve?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. My preference is to spend that little bit extra, but in that lower range, there's still some really good units that you can get a lot out of as well. Actually, having played around and been in a retail environment, some of those lower price Garmins are actually really good units.
As long as it's set up properly.
I've seen another question popped up on the Facebook about kayak. You can go and get one of those little Garmin Echo Mac 65s with your 2D and down scan and fish that skinny water out of your kayak and whatnot and have a ball and still see plenty, and it serves its purpose there too.
Yeah, we've got a few guys in the course that have asked questions about kayaks and mounting their transducers and and how will the turbulence affect their transducers coming from the oars and things like that. So yeah, no, it covers, there's a bit in there for everybody. Righto.
Another question here. How much experience did you have? This is probably for one of our students. Maybe Max, you might be able to answer this one. How much experience did you have before doing the course, and do you think you'd pick up as much as you did?
Yeah, so probably fished for a long time, 20 odd years offshore environment, on various large boats, like big trailer boats, etc., in deep water, and run some old technology sounder and some new technology sounders. I never had the opportunity to do the course before I sort of gave that sort of fishing away. But what I did learn a lot about very quickly, and was in the creeks, when I moved into inshore into the creeks, especially with the barra fishing and inshore. So I run hummingbird gear, and although, as Ryan outlined, his course is based on Garmin gear, the particulars around the use of that sounder or the application of the technology, it's not about the device, but the application of the technology and how it works. I fished for probably 18 months, 2 years with a good quality hummingbird side imaging. And I think the week after I did the course, the next time I went fishing, and I followed Ryan's directions after much trying of other things, I came out and found schools of fish immediately that I probably could have found 2 years earlier. So I think experience irrelevant of everything. I think it really does teach you how to get the best out of any of the technology you're using, whether it be top shelf, medium shelf, or bottom shelf. It will give you really good knowledge. And after fishing with Ryan once, seeing him be able to not, I suppose, manipulate the device to get the best outcome in a completely different environment, so out of his natural fishing location, and travel to somewhere and be able to catch fish in 2 days, or not 2 days, 1 day, and then really start to catch fish the second day, just simply by tuning in his sounder to the environment around him, was pretty cool to watch. So it definitely works, guys and girls. Definitely get into it.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Yeah, I guess to those of you who are on here tonight that may not follow us on Facebook and stuff, you might, well, those of you that do will notice that every time I go out, I don't go to old spots. I rarely go to a spot that I fished once or twice. I always look for new stuff every day. And we might drive around for 3 hours sometimes, but when you find that new untouched stuff, you've seen it recently, and Cooktown, yeah, up there, that's crazy up there. There's too many fishing spots up there, but anyway, it doesn't matter where it is. Even in our Cairns, off Hinchinbrook here, I can go out every single day and find at least anywhere between 4 and 10 new spots that are in the middle of nowhere that haven't been fished or have seen very little fishing activity. And even though you might not spend as much time during the day fishing, when you do get onto those kind of spots, the fishing is pretty spectacular. So you can either go out to traditional spots where you just get as much fishing time in as you can during the day. But as you know, when fishing spots get hit pretty hard, the fishing is not very good. Sharks come around, all that sort of thing. Finding new spots, you don't have any of those issues. And that's the best thing I like about it. And they're pretty exciting fish. They're always big and and nasty. And so yeah. Also for you guys that have been following us for ages and are already other course students and things like that. Sam, next to me here, he's our new operations and logistical manager. He helps us out with looking after the boats and all sorts of things, and he's helping us with setting up the shop and all kinds of bits and pieces.
Yeah,
bit of fishing as well. He can jump on another rod to get an extra line in the water. And of course, you can't see Kane, but Kane's our cinematographer. He's over in the corner over here. He's a little legend. He's fantastic at what he does too. So a lot of our videos and that have taken a massive step forward with Kane's assistance. Alrighty.
So I got one more
One
question here, from Mark. So he's ex-Darwin, but he's traveling full time with a car topper. He's had 8 sounders over his lifetime. He now owns a Garmin 95 SV with a GT56 UHD tranny. So he did Sounder Skills 1, found it good. Thanks for that. So he used to often change the settings all the time to try and get the best from his unit, but he'd like to just set it and forget it if possible. So the fish with shadows are obvious and easy to find, but he finds it hard to determine if something is a log or a fish. So he's going to do sounder skills too, and that will clear it up very quickly.
It will. That will. You definitely, get you sorted, mate, with that sort of stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it's a very interesting diagram in the first module, which sort of I never really understood exactly how side scan showed on the screen, and there's quite a few things that I come from a technical background, but yeah, the way Ryan explained it and the diagram and the video and real life examples is it's amazing, really.
That's one of the biggest things we get back in our feedback is how we've actually spelt out side imaging to show people distance from transducer is different to depth. And where the fish is positioned in the water column and
how it shows
kind of
up.
thing.
Basically, what you're seeing on the screen to what is actually there. That's probably the most interesting thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So many people
So
get that wrong.
I'll just add something there. One of the most important things I picked up, and something that you have said through some of the other courses, is to do what the fish are telling you to do. So without that interpretation, that's probably the difference in a lot of my fishing to a lot of other blokes. Like, there's no good bottom bash, and if the fish are 2 meters off the bottom, you know what I mean? But you've got to be able to understand that. And like blokes come out with me and I try to explain it to them, like it might be a 2 meter drop, and on your sounder screen in 20 meters, it doesn't look like much. But I often tell them, just stand inside your house and look at your ceiling. That's 2 meters.
That's right.
2 meters is a fair drop, and just, it might be a bit of extra cover or something, or, or if you're fishing on the bottom, especially with some species, there's no point. You got to do what the fish are telling you to do, and that's probably the biggest thing that I've.
And there's a fair bit of mate. And there's also a bit of that in the course, isn't there? Like some of the examples in the inner circle and things like that. I kind of give examples of when fish are active and when they're not, and what they do and where they can hide in relation to a 3D screen. So there's a lot of actually. It's not just a sounder course. There's a fair bit in there on fishing, and that's probably why we get so many comments saying, we catch a lot more fish now after doing the course. So, yeah, cool, mate. All right. Okay. So I'd like to thank everybody tonight for coming along. I hope we've answered your questions. If not, you can always send us an email. We do have information pages about the course as well on ryanmoodyfishing.com. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a business to keep making this great content and sharing it with you guys to take your fishing to the next level. So this is actually, and unfortunately though, this will definitely be the last time Sounder Skills 2 will be on sale at this price, and it's 5 days only. So the price is actually going up. Well, we've kept it at the introductory rate for too long, so it's got to go up, unfortunately.
So maybe just as a closing thing, might go through the students and.
Thank everybody. Of course, Steve Oath in Brisbane. Thanks, mate. Appreciate your help.
All good. Anytime.
Yep. And Chris down in Mackay. Thanks, buddy. And
no worries, mate. Anytime.
Cheers, mate. And we got Maxie in Central Queensland. Thanks, mate. Appreciate your help. Love to catch up again next time we're down. Say good day to the missus. And what do you guys reckon? The course is worth the money?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it goes without
crazy. That's crazy if you don't get onto it, especially while it's at the price it is. You're crazy. If you're into your fishing and the amount of time you spend in your boat and you're looking at your sounder, even if you spent $5,000 or whether you spent $1,000 on the sounder, you're crazy if you don't get onto this. It's I'll just leave it at that. You're crazy if you don't.
Helps tie it all together, doesn't it, mate? A little bit
does.
extra. Yeah.
Look at the amount of money you spend on.
No, you go, Chris.
Sorry, mate. Look at the amount of money you spend on fishing gear, boats, sounders, fuel, the whole lot. If you can maximise your fishing time by spending a couple $100, you're mad if you don't. It's it's crazy. This course should be like, it's 7 hours of tutorials. Like this is a course that could be worth $600 and still be good value. So if you're sitting on the fence, and I'd be jumping off it straight away and getting into it, and you'll never look back.
That was the price point we originally had it at, mate. We were going to start off at that, but yeah, we decided to bring it out a lot cheaper and hopefully help out a lot more fishermen. But all right, guys. Well, thanks once again. Big thanks to all the students for coming along and helping us out there. And yeah, like I say, if you want any more information, go to our website, ryanmoodyfishing.com. And the course is on sale for 5 days only. Today was the first day. So get in. And if you've got any friends as well, it's a great Christmas present for the ladies to give to the husbands. The guy that's got everything that's hard to buy for, this is a great present as well. We get
Valentine's Day gift.
Sorry, mate.
Valentine's Day is coming up. Good
Yeah. Just got to drop some hints. All right, guys. Well, we might wrap it up. And thank you very much for everyone for coming along. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you in the course.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Okay. Catch up.
Cheers.
Thanks. Thanks.
See ya.